Morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Les Bugsy Malone, doing the things that she loves. She's just been in for a swim. It's a very hot day again. We're doing it again. You know what? I'm going to have to ask for some favours again. Please, guys, can you hit the like button for me on the video? If you don't mind, you'll always do it for me, and it really helps the channel. I very much appreciate it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We are a few souls away from 17k. Welcome back to all the old. Welcome to the new. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on today's topic. You know what? I thought we were done. We have to go back and talk about Eric Dier again. We're doing it again. Look, I wasn't going to do the story. Yesterday I went with the Qatar thing instead. The news came out yesterday, but because there's absolutely nothing to talk about today, I'm going to bore you with this one. And that is Eric Dier, according to Matt Law from The Telegraph, has been knocking on Levy's door, and they've had a private meeting. Broadly speaking, it must be about Eric Dier's future, but the details of the meeting, the actual topics discussed, have not been disclosed. That didn't stop the journalist from speculating. What was it about? Was it about the fact that he's seemingly been cut from the first team? That Ange has got a problem with him? Is he unhappy with the way that he's been treated? Was it about his contract, his new contract, or lack thereof, the absence of it? What about his contract being torn up so he can go and do his own thing? We don't know. We have to speculate. What I would say is that I talked 2 days ago about whether or not Eric Dier might be a poison apple, and that maybe when you add up the variables of the situation, remembering that Ange Postecoglou defended his rationale for making 9 changes against Fulham by stating that he needed to see everybody before he could make his mind up of, well, whether they can or cannot play Ange ball, and yet hasn't given that same credit to Eric Dier in terms of minutes, at least in the actual competitive football, not friendlies. So then it leads you to think that maybe there's more to it, that maybe Eric Dier has, handled having his leadership role revoked in a bad way, or he's handled the fact that his new contract talks didn't happen in a bad way. Whatever. To me, it leads you to believe that Postecoglou has decided that this guy isn't cool with the vibes, doesn't provide the good energy, isn't someone that he thinks is going to pull the team in the correct direction, and so wants him out. Again, speculation. And then you find out that Eric Dier has gone above his head and spoken direct to Daniel Levy on what could be a number of topics, or maybe every one of those topics. Doesn't that kind of reinforce this narrative that Eric Dier is a bad egg? I don't know. I'm speculating, and I hope people don't think this is me just being nasty for the sake of it, but this is what we do on fan channels. We have to take what's in the news and run hypotheticals. Why else would you need to go to your chairman? Does it not ring a bell? A Danny Rose-shaped bell from the Amazon documentary, the All or Nothing series, when Danny Rose went and sat down and spoke with Jose Mourinho, asked him some questions. Mourinho gave the answers that Danny Rose didn't like the sound of, and then said, well, who cares what you say? I'm going to go speak to Daniel. If it's like that, it's a problem. Now, let me preface this next bit, because in business, generally, I am an advocate of the concept that the big boss should be accessible, but not familiar. Accessibility without familiarity, I believe, is important, because the best ideas come from the people that are out in the field, salespeople, account managers, whatever, in traditional business. The best ideas are found in the field, and they should be able to get their way to the top without a bottleneck, an artificial bottleneck put in place because the guy at the top doesn't think that he should have a relationship with anyone but his direct managers, direct reports. And I am an advocate for that. Be accessible, but don't be friendly. Don't be overly friendly. Don't be familiar to the point where if you need to chastise those people down the line, you're going to be compromised by your previous relationships or whatever. But in football clubs, I don't know if it extends that way. I don't think a player should be able to go and knock on the door of the CEO of the entire club and complain about what he seems or he deems to be unreasonable actions against him. If it's about his contract being torn up or questions as to what happened to the contract offer that was supposed to happen, then isn't that what an agent is for? Isn't that what your management team are for? You're not supposed to get involved in that stuff. That's why you have those third parties to represent your best interests and allow you to just focus on the football. If it's about his treatment by Ange Postecoglou, then what is the assertion? What is the assertion? That Ange has maybe frozen him out without reason? I don't know. To me, it's not good, is it? It's not good that you're hearing about these things. And obviously, I'm probably in the wrong for speculating and probably adding to the side effects of it. But a private meeting between a player and the overall owner usually is based on discontent. Maybe this is where the director of football, the lack thereof of a director of football, the lack thereof of a Scott Munn, maybe those two sorts of figureheads should be the people that are handling this stuff. Does Daniel Levy's open door policy to players show the correct level of respect to the manager? How does Ange feel about the fact that a player that he has decided is surplus to requirements can go and speak to Ange's boss about Ange without Ange being there to defend himself? I don't like it. It's not a nice... I don't think it's the right policy in a football team. Because I get, the example where I said in business, salespeople are going to pick up what's happening in the field. The account managers are going to learn how to maintain happy customers quicker than other people, and therefore getting that information to the top so that you can then implement company-wide policies is important. But I don't know if that same reality exists in football. When what's a player going to be able to tell an owner other than the better way to kick a football? And if you do go over the heads of your coaches and your manager, then you're undermining them. I don't know if it's the right policy to have, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. It doesn't seem to me to be a good scenario. And again, if the precedent is there for one, is it there for all? To me, I feel like Eric Dier, I just feel like it's bad vibes at the moment. I don't feel like he wants to acknowledge the rationale for him being dropped. He had a terrible season last year. He had an absolute stinker. And, him pointing fingers and shouting at his teammates for the mistakes that he made, he's not I don't think it's something that should be necessarily rewarded or commended. And so, but if he's that sort of person who does that, then he's also the sort of person probably that his confidence or his own internal dialogue doesn't accept accountability for his performance. Therefore, ergo, to him being frozen out, it's probably a shock and something that is entirely unreasonable based on the way that he perceives his own reality. You know, I've been talking about this tearing up of contracts thing and how I think it sets the wrong message. It sets a really bad precedent. If you do it for one, you're going to do it for all. Well, look, Davinson Sanchez has now gone. Tanguy Ndombele has now left, at least temporarily. And so really, you're down to two players left that precedent would affect. Eric Dier and Hugo Lloris. There is no noise on what's going on with Hugo Lloris. Eerily quiet and weird. It's a very weird situation. With regards Eric Dier, maybe, just maybe, the best action now would be to tear up his contract in January. I think you probably need him around until then, just because there's that chance that an injury or two injuries could happen and you're threadbare. There is a space for him in the 25-man squad at the moment, I believe. So you might as well give it to him, but hope that there's no toxicity or anything else that's going on beneath the surface. But then in January, you hope that Tottenham have taken the lessons of this summer seriously and have organised deals ready to be contractually signed on January the 1st. Whether that's a Tosin, whether that's somebody else, remains to be seen. Reports today suggest that Tosin is in fact the guy who still is Tottenham's number one candidate. We'll see what happens there. He obviously didn't get his favoured move to Monaco. But yeah, to me, I don't think you can tear the contract up before January. That you're going to have to, I don't know, you've made your bed, lie in it kind of thing with regards to the situation for now. But hopefully if you can bring someone in January, then tear up the contract for the last 6 months, let him go and be gone and be over with. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, bye-bye.